And then we might reach into some gaming of some sorts. Maybe I will play a little Yu-Gi-Oh. Yo, people on YouTube are like, "You play Yu-Gi-Oh?" I thought you were a political guy. Um, somebody in my chat. Good morning. Oh, you changed your name? Yes, you did. You changed your name. You'll still be Elise to me, unless you're getting rid of that name. Then I'm sorry. Um, somebody in my chat has been walling, just walling, straight up walling, asking me to look at somebody. And this person's name is John Doyle. So, as you can see, this is right up my alley. Because heck off, Kami. Okay. HOC. Oh, it's a play on AOC. Okay. So, I want to know what the fuck this guy is on. I gotta, I gotta see. Is he like a Trump protesters get emotional when asked simple questions? Is this guy a? I don't. Is this not a right wing guy? Am I being trolled? Is this a left wing guy? Oh shit! Oh shit! Okay, maybe I was wrong here.
The literal president of the United States has been kicked off Twitter. Welcome to the club. Various other social media platforms are purging conservatives, and unfortunately for our country, basically everything that we've predicted in the last few months is happening right now before us. But, you know, on the bright side, that's somewhat good for me because it vindicates my political instincts. But anyways, we're going to go over everything that we need to know and be thinking about during all of this. The truth about free speech, privatized and state power, the implications of what happened at the Capitol last week, all that good stuff, along with some very important announcements about this channel and its plans for the future. So do stay tuned. Pornography dissertation will be coming out next week. Finally, this has all been one big metaphor for the importance of delaying gratification. Those with high IQs, of course, understand. So the plan for this week is to have 2 videos covering broadly what's going on right now in our country in terms of censorship and leftist hypocrisy, which are going to be today and Thursday, respectively. And then also this Thursday for my Arizona people, on the 21st, I'm going to...
Okay, so is he like a...
I'll tell you what, folks, I'm starting to realize something. And it might get me in trouble, but you know what? It's about time that somebody said this. Everyone wants to think about it, but I'll be the one to say it because I am so brave. And you think about it when you see the left calling Amy Coney Barrett a radical because she's a Catholic, but then seeing them praise Joe Biden for supposedly being so devout in his Catholic faith. You see it when every state in the country has billboards alongside the highways from the federal government asking for information about the people who occupied the Capitol, but nobody cared enough to even do remotely the same for the Antifa and Black Lives Matter terrorists.
Oh... That's it. I'm out. I'm out. 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 Cookies, and then you just got on here. Oh, I'm not. I'm still screaming. I'm doing a bit. I'm joking. I mean, but she like I said, well, send me. I got it. So I'll do that by what I do. Nope. It's like he's stuck. Where did my yo? Is it in my ear? Yo, this headphone thing keep coming out. The fuck? All right, looks like I'm gonna do this stream with one ear because my earpiece keeps coming out and I don't know why that's happening. Man, yo, y'all over here flipping games. Okay. So, hold on. Okay, so hold on. On July 8th, 2020, Attorney General William P. Barr announced the launch of Operation Legend, a sustained, systemic, and coordinated law enforcement initiative in which federal law enforcement agencies work in conjunction with state and local law enforcement. Wait, wait. Hold on. Didn't we have a whole... Did we not have a whole episode about people getting snatched off the streets? Like, did we not watch that? Speaking my language. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Giving me them Jeff Bezos dollars. Okay, but like, why is it that this guy, I don't know if it looked like he was a leftist because he was like shitting on Trump supporters, but is he like one of these weird ass centrists?
You see it when Dr. Fauci talks about the importance of wearing masks, but then he himself won't wear one off camera. Or when these politicians talk about the...
It is crazy how Dr. Fauci says, wear a mask. But like, every human being will not wear a mask when with friends. Like, what is happening? What is that? I shouldn't be mad 38 seconds into your video.
The importance of social distancing and locking down, but then they themselves aren't following those protocols, and it's about time that someone says it. I don't even care if I get banned for saying it, because the left are a bunch of hypocrites. That was my impression of a mainstream conservative.
Oh, he caught me. Oh, he caught me. He got me good. All right, this best channel.
104, making tens of thousands of dollars each month to describe to you people via his microphone all of the low-hanging fruit he's picked and placed into his basket of takes.
He got me.
I will now revert back to
baited.
myself, transition to greatness. So
all right, that wins. He wins. That was that. If you ever see this, John, like, you won. That was so spot on, word for word, what I was expecting to hear.
That we can have a much needed lesson in framing and rhetorical strategy for intelligence and patriotic conservatives who actually seek to conserve something. So do stay tuned.
That was good. I deserve that. This is why you gotta watch the video.
John Doyle in. Heck off, commie.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heck Off Commie. What a fantastic discussion we have planned for today. Such powerful and important insight awaits us all. I'm excited, but first, I don't know if you've noticed, stop me if you've heard this one, but many state and local governments have used the virus to trample on the constitutional rights of millions while simultaneously defunding law enforcement while the mob and dangerous criminals roam free. When the government can't or won't ensure your safety, self-defense is your only option. That's why iTarget was invented, to give law-abiding citizens a cost-effective way to train in the safety and privacy of their own home. No more inconvenient trips to the range, no more expensive practice ammunition. Just download iTarget's proprietary app, load the laser bullet into your firearm, and start training. Just like so. Comes in all the major calibers, including .223 for your AR, so you can stay sharp with almost any firearm. And today you can save 10% plus get free shipping with the offer code Doyle at checkout when you go to itargetpro.com. This is the smartest way for you to practice, and it pays for itself within like a day. That's the letter I, targetpro.com, itargetpro.com, offer code Doyle. Very epic. We're going to talk about hypocrisy today, and I'm not going to claim that I've never called out hypocrisy before within a political context. Of course I have. We all have, and you have to do it from time to time to hold people accountable, or in my case, you do it to cast the widest net to appeal to the widest audience from time to time. But we need to address this fixation
you hooked
on
me.
hypocrisy that exists exclusively on the right. You don't see this on the left, and there's a reason for that. You know, will you see the occasional Occupy Democrats tier meme suddenly exposing conservative hypocrisy? Sure. Do people talk about it on...
Okay. Here's the thing about that. I can address that really quickly. Here's the thing about that. It's not that everybody has the same personality. It's that the biggest personalities are all the same. And I know what that sounds like. It sounds like I'm just saying the same thing. But when it comes to like very new to political streams or new to political content, like, you generally don't fall into these categories because you're not spending the time doing all the facts, editing, preparing a level, talking points or whatever. You're just going off the top. So generally you're allowed to be more passionate and more expressive. When you start getting like more and more nuanced, you start like, I guess, bogging yourself down, and you end up having to present it in a way that makes you seem newsworthy, if that makes sense. And you end up like that. Like, But
Social
yeah,
media,
they all
sure.
have the same
But I'm
personality.
talking about the macro trends here, something that is much more prevalent within the right than the left in discussions, in media, and everything, is this fixation on hypocrisy. And not only is it counterproductive for us, it's actually entirely symptomatic of just how bad the position that we're in is in society, in your own country. And you might be thinking, well, how are we supposed to hold people accountable without calling out hypocrisy? Where are your principles? Relax, I will explain. And if you're familiar with this channel at all, you know that one of the things that we like to do, we like to gatekeep. We do a little gatekeeping. It's called We Do a Little Gatekeeping. You might know that I've been described as the CEO of gatekeeping conservatism, which is something that I'm quite proud of. We have very good reasons for that. And a lot of people like to view politics as like a hobby or something. It's just something that they dabble in on the side. I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. That's probably a lot better for your mental health. But these types of people tend to dislike gatekeeping because they view it as akin to, kids in the cafeteria being like, well, no, you can't sit with us. You can't join our club or whatever. I understand that. But it really does serve a purpose. And in case we need a reminder, I'll provide you a brief synopsis. In the last 60 years, conservatives have lost ground on virtually everything. We have lost so much that we're now literally on the back foot in defense of there only being two genders. We're not winning. In the better part of the last century, the roulette wheel of conservative politics has had a house edge of 100%. Because of that, and that's not up for debate, by the way, that we're losing that badly, that's just a fact. But because of that, we don't have time for anything less than total focus and optimal strategy. We don't have time to keep experimenting with things that don't work. I don't care how fun they are. I don't care how virtuous it makes you feel. But what I do care about is winning. Like, I care about taking our country back because I'd actually like to raise a family here at some point. And given our fixation on the same failing policies and tactics throughout the last several decades, I'd like us to just take a break from pointing and laughing at the hypocrisy of the left to be collectively humbled by the knowledge that if we operate under the widely accepted definition of hypocrisy, which is saying one thing but doing the other, then conservatives are the biggest hypocrites in the history of the United States of America.
Thank you. That's all I needed to hear. All right, I gotta tag him on Twitter. Nope, I can't even find him. The fuck? I guess he's really on
Because we say that we're conserving America, but we've actually conserved nothing. We have nothing to show for ourselves. We are the ultimate hypocrites. It's an inconvenient truth, but it is nonetheless still truth. And the sooner we process this, the sooner we can begin to head in a positive direction. And one of the first steps to this is to break free from what's referred to as the Sir Galahad theory of politics. This idea that, well, I will win because my heart is pure. I will win because I'm good and because I'm correct. It's just not true. It'd be nice if it were true, but it's not. It's not enough to be correct. It's not enough to be good people. You actually have to put forth effort, because the reality is that victory in character does not translate into actualized victory, especially if they don't even value that character in the first place. The left doesn't believe in objective morality. They don't value that. It's all subjective to them, which makes that strategy even more unlikely to succeed. The left believes in subjective morality. And when there is no right and wrong, because everything is subjective, virtue comes to be redefined as simply tolerance. That's it, how tolerant you are towards someone's subjective belief system. Tolerance is right, intolerance is wrong. And this is why to call out hypocrisy, which, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed this, but anywhere you look in the realm of conservative dialogue, that's all you see. Well, AOC said this, but did this. Nancy Pelosi said this, but...
Oh, I brought that up. Oh, shit, I brought that up like months ago. Yo, I said this on a Facebook thread last night. It is insane to me that we always talk about having good faith conversations. I hate to go back. You know what? I keep saying I hate to go back to it, but I think I'm just going to start using that as a perfect example now. Like the whole Rick Santos debate. It was never about like a common ground. It's never common ground with any of these right-wing nut people. It's always, I gotta be heard. I gotta be heard. I gotta be heard. I gotta be heard. Like the person said to me last night, why is it that all you leftists always want to be like 100% right? And like, how come you always present one side and think you're always right? I'm like, I'm only commenting in response to the other, I gotta make that command, will do. Aren't you a mod? You can make commands. Sorry, give me a second. Yeah, y'all talk that out. How do you copy an address? Okay, anyway. Oh God. Um yeah, like I can't have a word in with any of these people. It never works. Oh, why does the left always want to be present one side and say you're right? Okay. For those of you on the right who don't understand this, I am coming. I am commenting. I am commenting on I'm responding to the thing that you have claimed to either be true or to be valid. My other side is the other. I can only present to you one side because the conversation you're having is not nuanced. So the thread was about Joe Biden and Nightbot. I have Nightbot activated. That's so weird. Which bot are you using? I think it's. I don't know. I'm getting stun locked on chat. I'm getting stun locked, and there's not even a conversation happening about the topic. It's something else, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, I we'll figure it out later. Y'all can figure it. You have mod view, and you can't. Does it not show up? What? Oh, you're not looking through mod view. That's why. It's okay. This is a long ass segment. It's going on for 18 minutes. People are gonna be reading and watching this and what? I don't understand. We'll figure it out literally right after I finish this. We'll finish this because I'm not I'm not doing anything after this. But it's like the will to have conversations with people starts to get really lost on me because I'll be sitting there like, okay, why do you think that way? And they'll default to like because that's the way to think. Like I'm not a leftist. I'm not a commie. I'm not. I believe in patriots and America first and Eagles and America. And I'm like, so the conversation was on Joe Biden being the cause for like gas prices going up, utility going up, and whatever. And I'm like, I said out my mouth, Biden has jack shit to do with that because it's been a month into his term and we are in the most volatile market conditions that we've ever seen because we're just coming out of the coronavirus. Well, we're not coming out of it, I should say. We're still heavy deep in it, but things are looking better. And what? And they were just going off like, oh, look at this article, this proves it. And I'm like, I'm looking through all the articles and it's not proving anything. And I'm like, you guys just want to hear yourselves talk because you saw that Joe Biden was posted in the status and you were like, yeah, I want to dunk on him too. I'm able to tell you all these points that you're making don't actually add up to the points. I'm giving you different. I'm out of G Fuel. Promo code Nick Merckx for 20% off your purchase. Um, and like I was able to debunk most of the thoughts that they were having. I ended up agreeing with a few people, like after they walked back their points. But the reason I brought this up in response to that is because of this hypocrisy shit. I keep saying this over and over again. I'm not telling you the other side of the story and asking you to believe me. I'm just walking back how far you've gone off the cliff so you don't die. Like, oh, Joe Biden's the fault for rising oil prices. Well, he's a factor, but it's not his fault. Oh, see, another leftist making excuses for Joe Biden. Like, did I say that? Now I have to walk back that statement to get back to the first statement. And by that time, you obviously. So the lady that I was talking with at the end of it, because I was just going off on these people. At the end of it, she was like, "Oh, well, you can't see the confusion from you saying that Joe Biden has jack shit to do with it." And I said, "Yeah, if you took that statement without nuance, which is what y'all do, because there's no nuance, you live in either a duopoly. It's either true or it's not. And you don't believe in the not true shit. You believe in the not true shit anyway, so I don't know which way to go with you on this." And I'm so like not depressed, but like, why is it that I can't have a conversation with y'all without y'all bringing up straw mans every time? And she had the nerve to comment on that too. And she was like, "Oh, why does the left always say straw manning when you don't have anything else to say?" Because, bitch, all you're doing is straw manning. Stop straw manning and I'll stop bringing up the word. Just like Rick, "Oh, I don't want to be called a radical because that has implications or whatever." But you radicalized. You're ready to go out and shoot people because you think there's a civil war going on. And there's no civil war going on. Oh, the Black Lives Matter race riots. Like, it's one thing for me to have a conversation with somebody and walk them back 2 feet. Like, okay, you think that Black Lives Matter could display their, or Black Lives Matter could do a better job at renouncing or denouncing, I should say, any riots, any violence. Like, that's not the point of the protest. If something pops off, like, they could do better. Sure, we can have a nuanced conversation on how we achieve that goal. But for you to just outright say something that's like not in reality, I have to first walk back your not in reality point. But you take the non-reality point and say, "Well, I gotta be activated. I gotta be ready. Shit's going on, and I'm not taking any chances." But for what? But the cause of your actions, the reason for your actions, is not physically manifested. It's the same thing as the GOP saying, "Oh, green." You heard it, the moment, the pivot, green energy. But that's not the cause. So now you're going to act on on your reasoning, on your belief, because you believe this, you feel it. And I have to, one, walk back the decision you're going to make. First of all, we not having no civil war. Second of all, there's no race riots. Third of all, how did you get to these conclusions? And the moment you bring up that, they immediately go into the Obama. It was Obama's fault. Fuck Rush Limbaugh. Yo, I can't. And it bothers me on such a level because it's like, I'm willing to sit here again for my chat and for my viewers to ingest all that right-wing media shit to then try to explain it backwards and see if it makes sense. And it never does. And y'all eat that up. Yeah, this is facts. This is real. This particular individual is expressing himself in a very impressive manner.
But did this. Oh, they want to ban your guns? Well, they've got armed security. It's all you see because it sells. It makes us feel like we're winning, but in reality what it does is expose the power structures that we're at the bottom of, and it showcases just how pathetic and lazy we are. It's the laziest flaw to call out, hypocrisy, because it doesn't require you to actually stand for something. It just requires that you're there to hold someone else to their subjectively defined standards. Doesn't matter. None of that matters. The left is bad because they want to kill babies. They want to take your guns away. Not my Beretta. We're going to have a problem. I didn't even plan that. I'm a genius. They want to destroy the history and heritage of our nation. That's why they're bad. Hypocrisy assumes that there's an agreed upon value framework of which they're in violation. What values would those be? On what values are we in alignment? Because it seems to me like conservatives volunteer themselves to these ideas of principles and assuming good faith in what is effectively a prisoner's dilemma. But the left doesn't want to participate in that with you. It's not even that they claim to and then, they just lie about it. No, they're like openly trying to crush you into the ground. And so if you refuse to respond to that out of some misguided sense of self-righteousness, worry not, because everyone knows that you're just rationalizing your cowardice to be a virtue. You're weak. You would literally be facing the wall in the MAGA hat, about to be shot in the back of a skull by Black Lives Matter and Antifa paramilitants wielding high points and AK-47s respectively. And you make a comment to the guy next to you like, can you imagine what would happen if we did this to them? So much for the tolerant left. And then you go JFK mode.
Yo, thank you. There you go, JFK mode. And you launch. You don't even segue. You just launch into the conspiracy theories. Like, yo, look, okay, chat. If you're watching the stream, pay the fuck attention, because I want to tell you this, and I want to tell you this with all of my heart. One day a week, I'm going to eventually get this started like about mid-March or whatever, because I feel like that's going to give me enough time. I am going to open my Discord up to any right-winger and give them 30 minutes to explain themselves. And I'm going to watch this argument happen over and over and over and over again. That's my plan. Because at this point, it's like, it's less that I can prove to you that you're a fucking moron. I have to do it in real time. I want to watch you study. You know what? We're going to go full fascist with it. I'm going to hit you with the, what's her name? Oh my God. I'm gonna hit you with the storm front. I want to see the light go out. Like I'm gonna go hard, because at this point, like, yo, it's whoo.
About tolerance for a second. We touched on this recently, but it's important to reiterate that the left never actually cared about tolerance, ever. But they didn't have any power in society. So 100 years ago, what did they do? They employed these ideas of tolerance and live and let live, man, as a rhetorical strategy to gain a seat at the table. And now they've taken over and you're like, well, I find it actually rather intolerant of you to not allow me to have my seat back. And that's the biggest thing to understand. Hypocrisy is the impotent cry of the powerless. To cry hypocrisy is to reinforce and display the power structures in this country and reveal just how impotent you actually are. You point out the hypocrisy and nothing happens. You don't have the power to hold them to their own standards, even if you disagree with the standards in the first place. Think about that. The left rarely uses hypocrisy because they don't need to. Usually they just mobilize their societal control to demonize people. That's a lot different. That is categorically and significantly different. The left sets the narrative as this person is evil, as arbitered by our misrepresentation. These ideas are evil as arbitered by our misrepresentation. React accordingly. And the right says this person didn't do what they said they were going to do. And then the country is like, shut up, you're evil. You see the problem? We don't set the narratives. We don't have the power. To cry hypocrisy implies that narratives are being set that you don't control because you are reacting to them, and conservatives don't set narratives or really do anything. We simply react. Well, can you believe this? Next thing you know, they're going to do this other crazy thing that I'm not going to do anything about. They get off on hypocrisy because they know that it makes you look weak. Every time you complain about leftist hypocrisy, the frequency that you emit, the data that you emit when transcribed into purely zeros and ones can just as easily be interpreted as please have sex with my wife. And I can't stress...
Oh, shit. That's a good one. Oh, that's a good one.
That's enough how important it is for conservatives to realize this. The fact that the left did something despite saying something else can at least be respected in that they did something. Does this mean that we should lie or sacrifice integrity? Absolutely not. It simply means that we need to stop being cowards, basically. Like, what about this could possibly get worse for you? They're already censoring you. They censored your president. And they realize that as long as they do it through private companies instead of government, both of which operating within the same coalition that is fundamentally and wholly against you, then it'll be fine because you'll be too entrenched in your think tank principles to do anything about it. I'll give you an example. Some people who self-identify as conservatives will say, well, we shouldn't teach our kids to love America because that's indoctrination and that's what the left does. And it's like, buddy, do you not love America? Do you not acknowledge that American history is spectacular and worthy of appreciation? Well, of course I do. I just don't like the idea of being told what to think. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but there comes a time when you really just have to abandon this whole question everything. I'm a free thinker. Like that whole mentality and just grow up. Americano for Joseph? What'd you really put in that cup? How do I know caffeine isn't just a placebo? What do you think it costs more to distribute? A drug that makes you energized, or propaganda commercials that show people energized after supposedly taking the drug? I'm a free thinker, because it's like, should you question everything? Yeah, but you reach a point where it's time to stop asking questions and just acknowledge reality. This is why conspiracy theories are so popular nowadays. People are supplementing for their lack of intelligence and personality by just deciding that which is most interesting to them must be the truest reflection of reality.
Oh my God, yo. All right, okay, for the chatter that was like, have you watched John Doyle? And I was like, no. Okay, maybe I take a little look into him, because he hitting some, this, okay, we're going to say it the AA, we're going to say it the Av way. This motherfucker's spitting. This is like me without yelling.
And they're always the least interesting theories. And the worst part is that the conditioning is still there, invariably. And the whole question everything mentality is purely to supplement for the fact that they're just like not that interesting and they don't have agency. You'll get coffee with a girl and she'll be like, I think the moon landing was fake. And you'll be like, oh yeah, really? I have a flash drive in my backpack with files on it that can, well, I won't say that. But you know, you'll say something like, okay, yeah, or what if every copy of Super Mario 64 was personalized? And they'll be like, no way, that's crazy. You're crazy. Or actually, no, perfect example. Go ask the person you know who loves conspiracy theories. They just love them. Go ask them what they think about the lockdowns and COVID. Watch how quickly they go from, OMG, Epstein didn't kill himself, to what's wrong with you? The science is settled, experts. And they just melt down because these people just do whatever the narrative tells them. They're like the mom who's always trying to keep up with their kids and, you know, the trends, who always just trying to be cool, except what's cool to them is being a slave to the system. And the system allows for little things like, ooh, what if the government is talking to aliens? Ooh, what if the Illuminati is referenced on the $1 bill? Try going against the grain. See what happens to you. Try going against the social trends and against the narrative. Try asking your friend with the question everything sticker on their laptop if they question the media's reported cause of death for George Floyd. Got off track here. These are two separate types of people we're talking about here.
Yeah,
right now, we're talking about the average person who doesn't really have agency. They just respond to social trends and narratives, and who quite often uses this idea of question everything to cope for that fact, which is probably subconsciously realized, or at least to supplement for a lack of real personality or insight. But first,
damn, John, why are you calling out Rick Santos so bad?
we were talking about the person who just doesn't like the idea of, say, teaching kids that they should love their country because, well, the left are the ones who indoctrinate. Here's the thing. First of all, if you don't push back against the indoctrination that they're already doing and will continue to do until you push back, your kids and grandkids won't even have a country to live in. That's number one. Number two is simply that if American history were just taught objectively, that would be sufficient. We're not talking about constructing these elaborate narratives like, oh, George Washington called an attack nuke to win the Revolutionary War, which is why we've cemented it as a staple of American culture. We're just acknowledging the fact that if American history were actually taught to our children, maybe they wouldn't love the country, but they certainly wouldn't hate it. And at the very least, they would respect it. Whereas now what happens is at the very least, they take it for granted. And in most cases, they hate it or think it's evil. Thus illustrates the power of narratives. And I know I've painted a relatively bleak picture, but there's actually 2 points of good news here. Firstly, that if we ever get to set the narratives, we won't even have to lie to do so. That's kind of cool. Secondly, and this one might sound weird, bear with me, a majority of the people who voted for Joe Biden would have voted for Trump if the right controlled the narratives. Seriously, think about that. These are people who don't really think for themselves, who just kind of go with the flow, react to the trends in society so that they're perfectly aligned with them. And if the right were in charge of setting those trends, and if we did so more effectively, those types of people would come over to our side, guaranteed, because you can't expect everyone to do the levels of research that we do, to follow the stuff as closely as we do, and frankly, to even care about the stuff as much as we do. And like, yeah, it's important, but honestly, it's not the most pleasant lifestyle. And so people actually deserve even to live in a society that doesn't try to brainwash them into hating that society, but rather one that simply presents the information. Very basic stuff. America's actually good. America should actually be put first. Families are good and should be aspired to. Vices are bad. Our culture is exceptional. Our history is exceptional. Our benevolence is exceptional, etc. We're not talking about lying about the issues, lying about our rank in the world as it pertains to different metrics. No, we're just trying to stop the country from committing suicide by telling the truth. But we can't tell the truth if we don't have the power to do so. There's a reason why they don't want you to have that power, why they're shutting you down. They can't afford to give you back that seat at the table because ultimately truth and good will win, but only if they are given the chance to do so. And so as long as we subscribe to this idea of, well, who gets to decide what's right and wrong? Who gets to decide what's true or not? We're going to lose forever. And honestly, to me, that sounds a lot less like a guy who's trying to get to the bottom of things and more like a guy who doesn't really believe in himself or anything at all, which I
Damn, that's what I said. Damn, John Doyle's spitting.
I guess I can understand given the state of things, but we don't have time for that anymore. Figure it out. The Rock says, know your damn role. It's basically as simple as working to make yourself the best and most virtuous person that you can be, working your way up whichever ladder you prefer, and then waiting to use that power that you've obtained for good. And if you don't like that, just be honest with yourself at least, because it's probably not that you don't like the idea of figuring out what good is. It's probably because you just don't like the idea of climbing the ladder, because that actually requires work on your part. Whereas noticing the difference between AOC's rhetoric and behavior and pointing a finger and laughing as though you've saved the West doesn't really require anything. Hey guys, if you like this,
That was fire. Okay, to the chatter that was like, watch John Doyle. Okay, you jebaited me. You jebaited me. You caught me lacking. But that motherfucker spitting. John Doyle. All right.